Everybody, and welcome to Bayou Bets. It is Thursday. It is September 28th, and we are excited to talk. Let's see if we can jam pack everything that we need to talk to in the matter of about a half an hour, maybe a couple minutes more. That's the good thing about the internet. You can just run on a little bit if you want to. Thomas Casale is with me. I'm Jim Derry. What is going on this afternoon?
Not too much, Jim. How you doing?
Doing good. I'm ready for a big week of football. We have so much to talk about. So let's just get to it. In fact, we have so much to talk about. I forgot to put our YouTube slides in, but don't forget, you can subscribe to the Bayou Bets YouTube channel and always get notified when we're going on the air, which is every Monday and Thursday at 4 p.m. And again, I'm out of breath. So let's get into it. The Saints and the Bucs this Sunday, Thomas, in the Superdome, Caesars Superdome. You know, the Saints are a 3-point favorite, according to our partners at Caesars Sportsbook. And it's teetering on the edge of going to 3.5. It's Saints minus 120 at -3. You can get even money if you want to take the Bucs +3. How do you see this one playing out?
Yeah, a couple interesting things here, Jim, is that you and I know we didn't buy the Bucs, right? That we thought they were a shallow 2-0 team. The Eagles didn't have much trouble with them last Monday night as we expected. And I don't think there's much difference in the line between Derek Carr and Jameis Winston. You know, it's sure. About 3. You said it's approaching 3.5. I think it'll get there by Sunday. And listen, if Winston doesn't turn the ball over, we know that's always been his issue in the past, and especially with this team, with their defense, turnovers are a killer. So if he doesn't turn the ball over, I like the Saints to win this game pretty easily.
I do too. It's not one of my, it's sort of one of my best bets. We'll get to that in a little bit. In fact, it's the highest that I've had the Saints either way, whether I picked them to lose or win so far this season. It is going to be the 4th straight time to start the season the Saints will start the game favored. You know, it's kind of a little weird thing against Green Bay. The Packers were favored almost the entire week leading up to the game. And then the day of kickoff, early in the day, it's flip-flopped, and the Saints became the favorite. So the Saints will actually be favored for 4 straight games. I should have put that in my trends column. I don't know when's the last time that happened. It's been a little while, I think, since the Saints opened as a favorite in 4 straight games, at least 3 or 4 seasons. So I'll have to go look that up. But there's a reason why the Saints are favored, and there's a reason why it's tilting towards 3.5. I agree with you 100%. I think the Bucs are kind of a mirage of what people thought they would be. And you can see that, Thomas. The rankings on the screen, they're 25th in total offense, 22nd in total defense, not numbers you'd expect to see from a 2-1 football team.
No, and as we said on the show last week, even though it didn't work out, we thought the wrong team was favored in Saints Packers. And I mean, they had a 17-0 lead. You usually win those games. And right before, Sunday before kickoff, that's where the money went. And I think you're going to see something similar this week. I don't like recency bias, but I'm not really taking the Eagles game as recency bias because we kind of thought that was coming. So that's what we expected. The one thing about the Saints, though, Jim, we mentioned this last week. They can't listen, they got a good defense. They're not the 85 Bears, right? They can't keep, rolling the dice and scoring 17 points a game and hoping the defense bails them out. So I think let's see how this offense looks. Does it look better with Jameis under center? I mean, listen, he can get the ball down the field. I'm very interested to see. I want to get your thoughts on this, Jim.
Well, there's a lot of people cursing at their phones right now. They can't believe you just even asked the question, can the Saints look better with Jameis Winston? I mean, look, I'm the biggest Jameis Winston defender probably at least on any of the shows that either we do or I've seen anywhere. The hate for Jameis Winston is mind-boggling, by the way. It truly is mind-boggling, and people don't want to hear it, but the fact is, he's a capable quarterback. He's the best. I think he's the best backup quarterback in the league. I don't think he's as good as Derek Carr, but we've seen what Las Vegas thinks about it because Vegas has not changed the Saints' power ratings at all. Not even a little bit. We've seen the numbers change on the Super Bowl odds, but that's only because they lost last week. They went from 28-1 to 35-1. But there's not that big of a difference in Vegas's eyes. You ask me, you're the outsider. So, I mean, it's easy for Saints fans. They're so used to Drew Brees. I have to keep saying this. Drew Brees is gone, and he's never coming back. I mean, there is no Drew Brees waiting to come in and fill the shoes. But I'm interested to see as an outsider what you think of Jameis Winston and what you think his chances are of playing well, because he did have an awful game against them last year.
No, he did. And listen, I've been saying this back since college. You watch his games. That guy squinted all the time. He was always squinting, and he was even asked about it in press conferences.
Right.
And then out of nowhere, he gets that LASIK surgery. I always thought there was something to that, man. He was always squinting, looking down the field. So I think that part's interesting. I also think this, Jim, and this is what I want to get your thoughts on. Let's say Jameis plays well, right? The Saints have a championship type defense. They just need the offense to be okay. If he plays well in this game, is there starting a quarterback controversy, do you think? Or is this Carr, when he's healthy, he starts
No,
again?
I think it's Carr. In fact, it's funny because last year when Winston went out, they couldn't wait to get Andy Dalton in there. I mean, it was very weird the way that it went down. And the fact
Yeah,
that Jameis never got another chance the rest of the
right.
season, even when he was healthy, I never understood that, which why it was shocking to me that they decided to bring Jameis back as the backup. I guess they didn't want to pay Andy Dalton the money that he wanted, but they chose Jameis over Andy Dalton because they actually signed him before Andy Dalton left. So that was the choice that they made. But I don't think there's any quarterback controversy. I do think it's Derek Carr's team when he is ready to come back. But what I'm interested in seeing is Jameis seems to be humbled a little bit. I mean, he was the clear-cut starter going into last season. He had that really bad game again against Tampa Bay, and he got injured, and he again never got his job back. Wally pipped, if you
Mhm.
want to call it that. So I'm interested to see now that he's kind of the backup and has accepted that role. Does he play any differently? That's what I'm going to be looking for on Sunday. Regardless, everything to the side, the offensive line has still got to play better. I mean, I think we saw Trevor Penning in the left side of the line play a little bit better. Andrews Pete came in at left guard because they had to move Hurst to right guard when Cesar Ruiz got hurt, and it worked actually, kind of almost ironically. I thought the left side of the line was much better this past Sunday. The right side of the line was the one that just got bombarded. Ryan Ramczyk was terrible at right tackle last week, so they have to find a way to put it together and have a good game all around. Interested also to see what happens now that Alvin Kamara is coming back. I think you're going to see Alvin Kamara, but his numbers aren't that great against the Bucs in his history. He's only averaging about 90 yards of total offense per game. Taysom Hill, I think, is going to have a big game. It's like the every other game syndrome. I think this is a Taysom Hill game. I would bet Taysom Hill overs in this game if you like any prop bets.
Yeah, what do you think? Caesars has a boost on Kamara, rushing and receiving yards, 99.5. What do you
Is
think
it
about
really?
that
Oh,
one?
I like the under. I
Like the
like the
under. Okay.
under. Yeah, I mean, he's averaging, like I said, it was like 90.4 combined. He's averaging about 45 yards rushing per game and a tinge over 45 yards receiving per game. So he's like split down the middle, and I just don't think they're going to use him a ton. I think you got to ease him back a little bit. Again, I think I'd rather play Taysom overs and Kamara unders in this game. That's what I'd like to see. And if you have him in fantasy, I'm not even sure that I would put him in yet unless you just don't have another choice. I might wait another week to see what he does here.
Yeah,
Um,
but listen, but overall though, he'll give the offense a boost. Obviously, the running game hasn't gotten cranking. 21st, as you see on the screen, running the football. I think again with the way the Saints play, it's a different league. You don't have to be number one running the football, but you want to
for
run it a
sure.
little bit better, as you said, to take the pressure off of that offensive line too.
It's kind of interesting that as bad as the Saints have been trying to run the football, I mean, if you just asked me and I didn't look at the numbers and had no clue, I would have thought they were more like 28th or 29th.
Yeah,
The
I
fact that
was
they're
surprised too.
21st goes to show you how much teams are just not running the football because the Saints haven't even tried to run the football and they're 21st. So that tells you a whole lot.
Yeah, and I think where I think this game is going to be won is with the Saints defensive front. If you watch the Eagles Bucs game, they had all kinds of trouble. And listen, the Eagles are the Eagles. They
Yeah,
have an amazing pass rush, but the Saints defensive front is strong too. I think if they get going, they get Baker Mayfield and some third and longs, you get the turnovers coming. And that's what I mean. If Jameis can limit those bad plays, I think they win by double digits.
well, I can also tell you that I like the over. I know that this number keeps going down and down and down, and whenever it just keeps falling. I'm going to wait. I like the over. I think the Saints have shown they can score points against the Bucs in the past. This defense isn't all that much different. So I don't know why people would think that the Saints aren't going to score in this game just because they haven't scored so far and Derek Carr's out. I think now that they're again getting Kamara back helps. Full dose of Taysom. I think the Saints in fact, the team total, I'm guessing, I haven't looked, but I'm guessing their team total is probably around 22-ish. I definitely like the Saints over in this game. I think the Saints going to score about 27 points in this game. So,
yeah, Chris Olave, big game.
I agree with you. I think Chris Olave definitely could have a big game. All right, we're going to come back to the NFL because you see up there, Lions and Packers play tonight. Lions and Packers. Oh my, that is coming up tonight, Thursday at 7:15 on Amazon Prime. We're going to talk about that one in a little bit, and there are some other games we're going to talk about as well. So we're going to come back to the NFL, but I do want to get to LSU and Tulane briefly, especially LSU. Now, look, they're playing Ole Miss. This is, to me, the biggest test the defense is going to get since they played Florida State in the opener, Thomas. They're 2.5-point favorites on the road in Oxford. The question is, look, is Jackson Dart going to do the same thing that Jordan Travis did to this defense?
Yeah, and I think we disagreed on how that Alabama-Ole Miss game went. I had Alabama in that game. I actually thought Alabama, if they had a quarterback, would have won that game by 4 touchdowns.
Yeah,
I just think their quarterback just doesn't make plays when they get in the red zone. So, I think LSU is going to be able to score and move the football. As you said, can their defense finally step up? It did not look good against Arkansas at all. And this is a better offense. I don't love Ole Miss this year. I thought they were a little bit overrated coming into the season. And I liked Arkansas last week as we talked on the show. I thought that was a bad spot for LSU, laying 17.5. Yeah. Arkansas plays really well as a big underdog. I think you see a better effort from LSU this week. It's going to be a close game, but I like them to pull it out.
Well, I like to say this just about every week. I got 2 words for you. Lane Kiffin. He stinks. He's not a good coach. He's overrated. He's a great offensive mind. He's kind of like Sean Payton in a way. I mean, what's Sean Payton's record now? He's like, I don't know, something in 3. We'll just put it that way.
And he just gave up 70 points and now is a favorite somehow this week. I tell you how bad the Bears are.
I forgot to say, if you want to comment, we're more than welcome. You're more than welcome to comment, ask a question. We'll put it up here on the screen. So here you go. You still got about 15, 20 minutes to put any comment or question you want. Terry Fields going back, talking about the Saints. We are going to go back to the NFL again. She's only hopeful the Saints will score. Winston lost me and very discouraged. I don't get it. I hope Carr is out for 2 games, is actually healed. Kamara does great. He will do that with Winston. Terry, I appreciate the comment. But again, I mean, I don't understand the Jameis hate. We got to move on. We got a lot of stuff to pack in here in a half an hour, but I just don't get the Jameis hate. We're going to find it. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe he'll stink again Sunday and then everybody can just bash me. Go ahead. Feel free. Whatever. The attitude's coming again on Monday. I'll give you Derry's dime and tell you what I think. Maybe you'll be right. Maybe I'll be wrong. All right. You see the rankings on the LSU, and Jaden Daniels is still keeping up his Heisman hopeful. He's slipped to about 18-1, I think, at Caesar Sportsbook. But the number 2 passing offense in the SEC, also, Thomas, the number 1 overall total offense in the SEC. LSU hasn't had any problems offensively. You would think just by looking at the teams that Ole Miss would actually be better offensively. But, part of the reason they're third is because Tulane shut them down a little bit.
Yeah, and I think LSU's offense is one of the best in the country. They had a couple of in the Florida State game. They had a couple of 4th downs. I mean, if they get the whole game's different. And listen, you mentioned Jaden Daniels' Heisman odds. Everything's still in front of LSU. It all comes down to winning this game, beating Alabama, and then you're in the driver's seat for something
100%.
big. So, I think there's some value there. I just think LSU's the better team. I know they're slight favorite on the road. A lot of money's coming in on the Tigers nationally. I get it, but that doesn't really decide games. That just tells you what bettors are thinking. And listen, like I said, I think it's going to be close, but I think, in my opinion, LSU has the better quarterback. And I think in a close game, the better quarterback's going to make some plays and they pull it out late. I also think Ole Miss's defensive rankings, to me, you look at them, they're 10th, they're 11th against the run, they're 8th against the pass. That's very disappointing for a team that was expected to have a good defense.
That's not a 14, by the way. It's not like the NFL.
Right.
That's not a 14. That's not very good.
So I think LSU's offense really gets going in this game, and at some point, their defense makes enough stops.
I'm with you. If I had to make a pit, I will not bet on this game.
No,
It's not bettable to me. I don't like that number. It's a weird number. They're basically begging you to take LSU here, and you talk about the money coming in on LSU. I just don't like 2.5 spreads unless I'm betting the other way. And if I was forced to bet, I would take LSU because of what you said. I think Jaden Daniels is far better than Jackson Dart. I think there are going to be a lot of points being scored in this game. I like the over, but really, what it comes down to me is coaching, and LSU's coaching situation is much better than Ole Miss's. They will be focused. They will play much better, but Ole Miss knows it needs to play its best game of the year as well. After kind of tanking last week against Alabama, we'll see what happens. We're going to briefly touch on Tulane. They're playing UAB this week. 11 a.m. A lot of 11 a.m. starts. You see they got two marquee games down there at the bottom, also starting at 11 a.m. We'll talk about Florida and Kentucky and South Carolina, USC and Colorado coming up. Those games are both at 11 a.m. as well. But Tulane, obviously, kind of the opposite of LSU. They have won with defense and going against the fighting Trent Dilfers this week, Thomas. And you got to like the way Tulane's been playing defense, and you get Michael Pratt, who came back last week against Nichols. Tulane should be just fine. 21.5. I take Tulane. I think they're going to win easily.
Yeah, I think this is a blowout. UAB was one of my bet against teams coming into the season. Not quite sure what they're doing there. I don't think that was a great coaching hire. Lost a lot of people from last season. I think Tulane rolls in this game.
I agree with you. It is almost time for Big Bucks, but I do want to go back before we get to Big Bucks. I don't think either one of us has a pick on tonight's game. I want to talk about tonight's game very briefly. Lions and Packers. What are you thinking there?
Yeah, I lean the Lions. I don't have a play on it. I think it's going to be a close game. I think the Lions are the more talented team. I think Green Bay has overachieved a little bit. I think the Saints really let one go last week. And tight game. I know the Lions have some injuries, but I think offensively they can get some things going. Aaron Jones probably coming back for the Packers. That matters. I could see some points scored here. I lean over and lean the Lions, but nothing strong enough to bet.
I agree with you. And what's funny is I went into here's an example of doing research can change your opinion on everything. Because when I first saw this game, I'm like, there's no way. Why are the Packers underdogs at Lambeau Field against the Lions? I mean, first of all, I'm not nearly as high on the Lions as most people are. But then when I started doing the research, I had a hard time believing what I was reading. The Lions have actually swept this series 3 times since 2017. They swept it in 2017, 2018, and 2022. They've won 7 of the past 12 games straight up in this series. So they've won 3 times at Lambeau since 17. I think you got to take the Lions here. It's not the greatest spot for the Packers, just coming off of that win against the Saints last week where they kind of got, let's just say, a little bit lucky. I mean, don't get me wrong. Jordan Love played a great game, and I thought he did a good job of leading the comeback, but he also got a little lucky as well. If they don't score in that 4th down play, Thomas, Packers don't win that game. Everything else is forgotten. You don't talk about the field goal. You don't talk about Jameis Winston. You don't even talk about the offensive line. You just say, oh, the Saints won and they're 3-0.
Right. And I'll tell you one thing's interesting. I haven't looked it up, but I wonder when the last time that the Packers were back-to-back underdogs at home. That's got to be a long time ago. Again, it's right around even, but I agree with you. I thought the Saints more lost that game than the Packers won it.
Yeah.
So I think another close one, but the Lions prevail.
I guess in the end, unfortunately, it really doesn't matter, how you win or lose it. It's just that you win or lose it. All right, let's get our crew in here. Our crew for today. Let's see if I can do this without messing it up. Can I do it 2 straight weeks without messing up? I think I did. All right. How about that? What's up, gentlemen?
What's up? What's up?
Are we ready for some big bucks?
Sure am.
All right. Well, we're going to go once again in the opposite order. Whoever did the worst and is the turkey of the week, we're going to announce the turkey of the week. This was my idea that whoever did the worst.
Great idea.
It's a great idea in theory. It's not a great idea when you show this. I mean, come on, man. Really? I'm still upset. I am aggravated. I'm annoyed whatever word you want to use, the fact that the no call, it's a no call. What happened in that Ravens game? No call. So because of that, I am the turkey of the week. I would have loved to have seen the guru wearing the turkey hat, but instead, no. It's me, minus 29. I lose 36 with that game. The guru, -4 for the season. And you see Thomas and Gabe just above water there. For the season, Thomas and Gabe doing pretty well, both above by 28 for Gabe, up plus 58 for Thomas. I am now in the red. That is unacceptable. It can't happen. Never again. And now I got to wear this damn thing. Oh, come on. This is absurd.
Yeah, we got to bounce back, Jim, but at least I'm not the turkey of the week.
I mean, really? I mean, what the hell? I mean, I gotta go to the barber or something. Maybe they can
Not Thanksgiving yet.
Chop these legs off. I don't know. Anyway, all right. Here are my picks this week. We're gonna come back with a vengeance. I'm going 5-0 this week. By God, we'll see what happens. You see, El Rey's giving me crap for blaming the refs. Anyway, all right. My picks this week. By the way, we're on a 2-minute timer, even though I didn't have time to do a timer. We'll just pretend like there's one on the screen. I love the Ravens. I have them in 2 separate picks this week. They're going to destroy the Cleveland Browns. Why? Because the Fighting Harbaughs, 24-6, all time, straight up against the Browns. He is not going to lose to the Browns. Great spot for the Ravens, by the way, who are just as pissed off as I am about that no call. They're going to come back with a vengeance. Browns think they're great because they beat up lowly Tennessee last week. Who cares? We put them in a teaser, too. Atlanta going across the pond. Last 6 games in a row in Europe have been 7 points or less, the margin. So I like Atlanta getting +9 in a teaser. All right. Also like the Steelers. Sorry, Gabe. Over the Texans, -3. And then I just got to bring this up. Besides, you see my money line parlay, Saints and Bills. But the Broncos-Bears. I think that score, it's going to be like 52-48. I don't know who's going to win the game. Sorry. Well, I don't know if I'm sorry, Zoe, or not. You might enjoy the game. I think, all of a sudden, they're going to look great. Justin Fields is going to look wonderful. The Broncos defense sucks. The Bears defense sucks. You got to take the over in that game. Going to have a lot of fun with it. Why not? All right. We're going to go. That means we go to Spencer. Guru?
All right. Yeah, I need to bounce back too, Jim. And, I got the Ravens as one of mine. Got them as underdogs there. +3. That's +3, right? For the Ravens, not minus.
Did I screw up?
Yeah, you had -3 on your. But, +3 for the Ravens. Think they bounce back this week.
It says +3.
Cool. And, because yours it said -3, just confirming that. But anyway, under my best bet of the week is this total here, under 44, Cardinals 49ers. This is going to be an ugly, low-scoring game. Deebo Samuel trending toward being out, and the Cardinals aren't going to be able to score hardly anything on that 49ers defense. Josh Dobbs is a good feel-good story, but not this week. It's going to be a butt-whooping. So give me the under there because I feel like the Niners are just going to call off the dog once they get up like 31-0 or so. It'll just be just run with CMC and run out the clock. And also got the Vikings to cover. I think the Vikings get off the schneid this week, -4 there over the Panthers. Just to me, this team's too talented to go 0-4. I mean, you still got Justin Jefferson, TJ Hawkinson, Jordan Addison, too many weapons. I don't see the Panthers coming close here. They are in shambles there at Bryce Young, the rebuild over there. They're going to struggle, I think. And I got a couple of college plays for y'all. Parlay USC on the alternate line, -14 over Coach Prom's Buffs, as well as the total over 73.5. I feel like that's going to be a shootout there. Coach Prime's bunch might be able to backdoor cover it, but I don't think they come within 2 touchdowns. And then got a teaser there, Florida +7. I think they could definitely beat Kentucky, but I'll play it safe with them on the teaser. And then Tennessee -6 over South Carolina. I like Tennessee at home this week to win by at least a touchdown.
Playing college teasers is like playing Russian roulette, Mr. Guru. But you go for it. I hope you win. Hope we all are in the green next week, and I can't wait to see you wearing this thing. It's gonna look great on you.
If I'm in the green, I have to wear that thing. I'm like, well, shoot, props to everybody, but hopefully not.
By the way, Zoe says she wants to know if I lose the week of Thanksgiving, is that considered cannibalism? I'm not going to even touch that with a stick because I can only get myself in trouble. So I'm just going to leave that one alone. By the way, we're going to wrap up. When we wrap up the show, we're going to talk more about USC and Colorado and Coach Prime. It's also one of Thomas's big bets, big Bucs picks. But first, we go to Gabe. Gabe had a good week. He was 3-2 for the second straight week. He is still in the green. What you got?
Would have had a better week if Dabo Sweeney wasn't an incompetent coach down the stretch. Anyways, I'm going to play a college spread. I really like Georgia to cover, even though, a lot of people say Georgia doesn't try during the regular season. The Deep South's oldest rivalry, this is one they want to win. 5 of the last 6 games have been Georgia wins by more than 14.5 points. And let's be honest with ourselves, guys, Auburn's offense is horrible. They struggled at Cal. They looked absolutely lost against Texas A&M. And a lot of people like to say Jordan Hare, great environment, not during the day, give or take. I like Georgia here to cover more than 2 touchdowns. I think they're going to make a statement and remind teams who they really are. I also like the Jacksonville Jaguars money line against the Falcons. Favorites are 29-9-1 straight up in London. So give me the Jags to win. Bills -2.5 against the Dolphins. The Dolphins made a statement last week scoring 70, but teams that score 60 plus are 1-6 straight up and 0-7 against the spread in their next game. Bills are 7-0 at home against Miami since 2016, and each Bills win was by more than 3 plus. So I like that. And then for my upset pick this week, I like UConn money line against Utah State. These are spots that UConn won last year, and I think Utah State could really struggle on the East Coast. As far as my last pick goes, Bengals -2 against Tennessee. I think Tennessee is one of the worst teams in the NFL. Give me Joey B and the Bengals.
That's a bit of a stretch, but you may be right. I may be wrong. We'll have to find out. It won't be long. I'm the one wearing the turkey hat. By the way, UConn, Utah State, that feels like one of those games that ends up on bad beats that Stanford Steve says, nobody bet that. Nobody bet that. Show me your ticket. It just feels like that's going to end up being on there. I don't know. We'll have to find out. All right, Thomas, let's see what you got. You are leading the pack, $58 ahead. You hitting that money line again? Are you going to hit the money line again?
Oh, Gabe, I'm rooting for you on that UConn bet. I got over 4.5 wins on UConn. Right now they have 0, so I could really get one in the win column there. Jim banned me from talking about Colorado USC on this show. Then he said you got to wait for your your bets, and then he gives me 2 minutes. I mean, you guys making a lot of rules for someone wearing a turkey on his head.
All right, here's a rule. I'm taking this damn thing off. There you go.
So here's the thing from a betting perspective. Anyone who does power rankings has Oregon rated ahead of USC. USC has a good team with the best player in college football. Oregon, I think, is a much better team. So you're telling me now USC is laying more on the road than Oregon was at home. This opened at 24.5. That's where I got it at. I'll still give it out 21.5 at Caesars. But this is a game, cover or not, I think Colorado can score some points. It's going to be kind of a back and forth game. Now, maybe USC beats them, 56-31. But I think the style of the game is better suited for Colorado to cover, not to win. They're not going to win the game. But like Spencer pointed out, maybe a backdoor cover at the end. USC's defense still very weak. So give me them plus the 21.5. Hey, listen, I'm a Cowboys fan, but 3 offensive linemen out last week. They got dominated up front by Arizona. We don't know the status of those guys yet. If you've had trouble with Arizona's line, you're going to have trouble with the Patriots line. Give me the Patriots plus 6.5. My upset special, almost got it 2 weeks in a row. Notre Dame blew it on the final play. Going against the Irish this week. Duke, still undervalued in the market. I think they got a shot here at home. I'll take them plus 180. Navy lost to Memphis, lost to Notre Dame. 2 really good teams. I think South Florida, more their speed, get that option going. -3. I like them over South Florida. My favorite play of the week, San Diego State getting 10.5 against the Air Force. San Diego State's played the option well. They've won 7 of the last 10 against Air Force. You can either play the option or you can't. They know how to do it. I think they stay within double digits and cover this game.
Y'all cray with the Colorado USC thing, by the way. Terry Fields, who is Tulane playing? Tulane, we talked about him for a few minutes. Maybe we want to talk about it for 1 minute. Yeah. Maybe for 1 minute. It is Tulane playing UAB this week. Their AAC opener. They're playing in their American Athletic Conference opener. Okay, before we let y'all go, we never got to this slide. I'm glad you're all here to talk about it. I'm going to throw this out here. We talked about Coach Prom. I think I'm the only one that's on USC this week. I think I get what y'all are saying. Y'all know more about college football than I do, but there's a reason why that line's coming down from 24.5 to 21.5. If you think I'm betting with all the people that are knocking this line down, y'all cray.
Well, Jim, I will say this one has a little bit more of it's not even, but with Caleb Williams playing the big noon game on Fox, there's a lot of bets coming in. And this is the first time I think that people are actually taking the other team too, unlike last week.
Well, they got to get up super early over there.
Yeah.
I mean, that's an interesting factor. I wonder if that plays a role as well. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. Okay, let's talk about some college games first. Interestingly enough, I want to talk about Kentucky, Florida. This line has been weird. Spencer, where was this line earlier in the week?
I think it was more toward Kentucky, but they've had some bets coming in on Florida to where it's not only -1 for Kentucky, which, I mean, I'm more on the Florida side. I know that sounds kind of like an Aunt Mabel play, but I just like what Coach Napier is cooking up over there. Their running game's been really good. Mertz, the transfer QBs, getting in a groove. So I think it is a good spot for Florida.
Can Kentucky stop ATN is the question, Gabe. What do you think?
I think so. I'm not touching this game personally. Florida's way too inconsistent for me to bet. And I don't like them away from home. I think Kentucky will get it done in the end.
We know what Thomas thinks about Notre Dame and Duke. Gabe, what do you think?
I like Duke.
Spencer?
Duke's cool. I like Duke to cover. I don't know if they'll win outright, but I think there's a lot of value with Duke.
I'm buying into Marcus Freeman. I know they lost such a brutal fashion last week. I think Notre Dame kind of fights back this week and play. That is really. I think that is going to be an excellent game. I really do. That is going to be a fun game to watch. But I can't bet against Notre Dame in that one. I actually think that the Irish are a little bit better, I think, than they played last week. And to let that one just slip away the way they let it slip away on that last play is just brutal. All right, El Rey saying go Gators. You notice how quick I showed that. NFL play this week. Some huge games. We talked about it briefly. But Thomas, Bills and Dolphins, obviously the marquee matchup. And I put it in my best bets. I just think that this is a great spot for the Bills. They're just laying back. They're for the first time in maybe 3 years that they're not. People aren't talking about Josh Allen. They're not talking about Stephon Diggs. They're not talking about anything going on with the Bills. It's all about Tua and the 70 points. And the Bills are just licking their chops, in my opinion, right now. I think the Dolphins. I don't know that they get out of the mid-20s this week.
Yeah, I agree. You know, I bet the Dolphins to win the Super Bowl. I bet them to win the AFC East. But like you said, it's all about spots, right? And this is a terrible one. They played the two emotional games. They come out, they blast the Broncos in a game like I don't remember seeing anything like that before. I think you're playing a different animal now. You go into Buffalo, rabid crowd. I like the Bills to prevail here.
Gabe, I'll tell you what bet I like. And if y'all want to go jump on it, you feel free to jump on the bandwagon. You are not going to get, if Buffalo wins this game, you will not get a number lower than this all year. For the first time in as long as I can remember, maybe at least 3 years. And I'm old and I don't remember longer than 3 years ago. But 10-1. The Bills are now 10-1 at our partner Caesars Sportsbook to win the Super Bowl. Again, if they win this week, you will not see double digits again. Go put some money on the Buffalo Bills. Even if they don't win it, it's value. I think you're getting great value with the Bills at 10-1.
I think you're getting value with the Bills, and I think you're getting value with the Bengals right now.
What are the Bengals right now?
Last I checked, I think they were somewhere around 24-1.
Yeah, they scare me because of the division they're in. And again, not that the Bills are in an easy division because they aren't, but it's easier now that the Jets have Zach Wilson. But you know, that division, to me, I don't think it would surprise anyone, even if the Steelers won. Any of those four teams, I think, are capable of winning the division. If Kenny Pickett plays just a little bit better, I think the Steelers are going to be in the mix as well. I picked the Browns before the season started, and I'm still sticking with that. But the Ravens are so damn up and down. They're a weird team. Spencer, what do you think about the AFC North?
Yeah, it's a tricky division. You know, I still like the Ravens to win it. They were my preseason pick, so I'm going to stick with that. Cincinnati, I think, could get going, though. I'm definitely not buying Cleveland. I think they've just kind of taken advantage of a soft schedule to start. Pittsburgh could be tricky, though. 2-1. I mean, Kenny Pickett's not great, but he's serviceable. They can still play defense over there. So I think Pittsburgh could be a little tricky there. Them and Cincy could maybe give Baltimore some trouble, but I still think Baltimore figures out a way to win that thing.
Like I said, I picked Cleveland before the season. It's not I'm not jumping on a bandwagon. I thought they were the best team going in. I think Deshaun Watson is only going to get better as the season goes along, and you can shake your head till tomorrow. You're just pissed at Clemson. You're still pissed about Clemson. That's all there is to it. I mean, you can hate Dabo. You can Deshaun Watson remind you of Clemson. I get it, and he reminds you of the Texans when they used to be good. I get that. It's
got a
fine.
better quarterback now, Jim. That's all I got to say.
Oh, Lord.
Ooh,
Jesus
hot
Christ.
take.
Oh, here's your hot take. Mr. Stroud, meet Mr. Watt. Have fun with that this weekend. Thomas, what do you think about the AFC North?
Yeah, listen, I thought it was tough when we entering the season. I think you can make an argument for any of the teams. You know, the Ravens offense at some point, I got to see something. You're kind of waiting for that offense to pick it up.
Yep.
They spent all the money in draft picks on receivers. They got Mark Andrews. Now Dobbins is out for the season. So the running game's kind of stalled again like it did last year. But, you know, if they can get that offense going, I think they're the best overall team. But as Gabe said, it's going to come down to Joe Burrow's health. He still doesn't look right. And does he get healthy or does this linger all season? To me, is going to be the question in that division.
I think they'll get better, but it might be too late by the time he starts feeling, I think they have the most talent in the division, but I still worry about that offensive line at Cincinnati. And we've talked about it with the Saints. If you don't have a good offensive line, you can make the playoffs, sure, but can you win anything that's important? I don't know. I don't know the answer to that. So, again, I think the Bengals are the most talented, but how long will it take for Burrow to go? I don't know. I am intrigued about your pick with the Cowboys and Patriots. I kind of disagree. I actually think the Cowboys, it's funny because everybody's jumped off the Cowboys band. As fast as they jumped on the Cowboys bandwagon, they've jumped off. So it's interesting. Obviously, offensive line, we talk about it with every team, everywhere. Yeah. That's what matters, and I get what you're saying there, and you're the Cowboys fan, but I think the Cowboys rebound. I have the Cowboys winning this game big. And I know.
Yeah, I just think it's going to be if they don't have some of those linemen, a bit of a slog of a game. You know, like I always tell people, hey, if CD Lamb's injured, everyone's like, wow, CD Lamb's hurt. If three offensive linemen are hurt, three of the best at their positions, by the way, they're not just off the street guys. Nobody really cares. Yeah. But that's where I think if they get those guys back, I don't think they will get all three back. Then maybe it's a little bit of a different story. If they're not there, that defensive front for the Patriots could cause problems.
Yeah, remember I said a few minutes ago, Mr. Watt, meet Mr. Stroud. Well, Mr. Parsons, meet Mr. Jones. That's all I got to say about that. We'll see. I think it's going to be, I don't know the Patriots get past 10 points. That's how ticked off.
Run it and punt it.
Yeah, a lot of running and a lot of punting in that game. I'll say, well, I mean, Zeke, he's going to be emotional. We'll see what Zeke Elliott does. I'm intrigued by that. All right, 10 seconds each. Give me your final thoughts for the day. Gabe Henderson, you go first.
I think you're right. Texans lose to the Steelers with a makeshift offensive line, but I still like C.J. Stroud.
I know you do. Spence?
I didn't get to talk Saints today, but I'll get it in here. I really like the Saints this week. I think they can not only win but cover. I think it's a good spot for them coming back home to the Dome, and I think Jameis gets his revenge.
Spencer and I will both be in the Dome on Sunday, giving our updates and getting some post-game reaction for you here for Monday's show coming up. Thomas, what you got?
Saints win, LSU wins, Tulane wins. Spencer, I'm never betting your school again. They gave up 3 touchdowns in the final 7 minutes to not cover against Buffalo, so thanks a lot for that.
All right.
Damn backdoor.
My final
bet on that.
My final thought is I'm never wearing that damn turkey hat again. So you can roll with my picks this week. I promise you. But Zoe's already going into her time capsule thing and getting all kinds of great pictures. I'm sure she's going to have fun with that. Whatever. I'm not wearing it. Tomorrow, Datitude, Larry Holder back with us. We will talk more about Saints Bucs and we'll give her more of a preview. We'll go in depth in the NFL, talking about week 4. We get Larry's best bets and his marquee matchups. I'm sure they're pretty much the same as the ones we got on the screen, but we might dive into a couple other games as well. There's some other games that I really want to talk about. We'll get that with Larry Holder tomorrow. Frank Stokes says good show.
Thank you, Frank.
I'm glad that you were watching some other show and came and caught the last minute, but you forgot to type in your comment before you came to the show. But we appreciate it anyway. Thank you. Again, Datitude tomorrow. We'll be back with Bayou Bets on Monday. We hope you enjoy the LSU game, enjoy the Tulane game, all the great college games. Saints on Sunday, Bills and Dolphins at the same time. Hope you got 2 TVs. We'll talk about it all on Monday. And the Monday night matchup, which is, help me real quick, Monday night matchup.
Giants Seahawks.
You know you can't wait to talk about that. We'll see you on Monday. Have a great weekend, everybody.